The old space station floated in silence, far from trade routes and far from the eyes of the galaxy. It was a forgotten structure, half broken, half alive, its lights flickering like dying stars. Captain Darius Morrow had never wanted to come here. Yet the message he received carried coordinates that pulled him across sectors. It said only a few words. Come to the station. One waits for you. No name. No explanation. No signature. But something about the message made him restless, as if it was written for him alone. When his small ship docked, the airlock hissed with the sound of stale oxygen and long years of emptiness. The corridors were cold and heavy, each step echoing, louder than it should. He held his pulse rifle ready, moving slowly, scanning every corner. The station smelled of rust, of dust, of places that had not seen life in decades. Strange markings lined the walls, symbols carved deep into the metal. Alien, but old, older than any civilization he had studied. He passed through one corridor, after another. Doors lined both sides, but all of them were locked, sealed with red lights. It felt like a tomb, a place where secrets had been buried, waiting for someone to disturb them. The deeper he went, the more he felt it, the weight of eyes on him, as if something unseen walked behind him, watching, judging, waiting. His breath grew shallow, his grip on the rifle tighter. Then, after endless minutes, he reached one single door. Unlike the others, its light glowed faint blue. He hesitated. His instincts screamed that he should turn back, that nothing good waited beyond. But the message burned in his mind. One waits for you. He pressed the panel. The door slid open with a long, metallic groan. Inside was a small chamber. A single dim light flickered from the ceiling, casting long shadows across the room. And there, standing in the center, was a figure. At first, Darius thought it was an illusion, some projection left to lure him. But then the figure moved. It was a woman. Her skin shimmered faintly, like silver touched by moonlight. Her hair fell long across her shoulders, glowing softly as though lit from within. But what made him freeze was not her beauty, nor her alien features. It was the fact that she wore nothing at all. No armor, no clothing, no protection. She stood vulnerable yet unafraid, as if this was exactly how she wanted him to find her. Her eyes locked on his. They were large, brighter than any star, glowing, with a strange light that was neither human nor entirely alien. Her lips parted, and she whispered something in a soft voice. The words were foreign, but the tone carried meaning, expectation, relief, desperation. She stepped toward him slowly, her movements graceful yet trembling, like someone who had waited for years in silence and finally saw hope. Darius felt his throat tighten. His training told him this was wrong. A trap. A trick. No one survived. On this station, no one could have. And yet, she was here, alive, waiting. "Who are you?" he asked, his voice sharp, his rifle steady. She tilted her head, not understanding his words, but her expression softened as if she knew his question anyway. She placed her hand gently over her chest, then extended it toward him, inviting, pleading. Darius shook his head, taking a cautious step inside. "Why are you here? What do you want from me?" The woman's lips trembled. She pointed toward a strange device fixed to the far wall. It was shaped like a crystal orb, pulsing with faint light. When he looked at it, images suddenly flashed. Through his mind, visions not his own. He saw her locked inside this room, standing day after day in silence. He saw alien figures, tall and cruel, surrounding her, whispering words he could not understand. He saw her eyes filled with tears, and then the vision cut out, leaving only a sense of hunger, of need, of waiting. Darius stumbled back, gripping his head. The images were too real, too sharp to be imagination. They were memories. Hers. Somehow the device had shown him her life. The woman stepped closer, her bare feet making no sound. She raised her hand, hovering at inches from his face. Her touch never landed, but he could feel warmth radiating from her, heat that pressed into his skin like fire. Her eyes glowed brighter, And for the first time he understood the weight of the message. She had not been waiting for someone. She had been waiting for him. The silence in the room grew heavy. His pulse raced. His instincts told him to run, to seal the door and leave this cursed place behind. But his heart felt something else. A pull, a bond, a connection he could not explain. "Why me?" he whispered. "Why are you waiting for me?" She did not answer with words. Instead, her lips formed a single sound. His name, Darius. His blood turned cold. She should not have known it. She should not have been able to speak it. And yet she did, with perfect human clarity. The way she said it carried more than recognition. It carried belonging. Darius staggered back, his rifle trembling in his hands. He felt the station hum, the walls vibrating faintly, as if the very structure responded to her voice. He realized then that opening the door was not the end of something. It was the beginning. And as the woman took another step closer, naked and glowing, her eyes locked on him with unshakable intensity, Darius understood one truth. Whatever she was, whatever this meant, his life, and perhaps the fate of humanity itself, had just changed forever. The door sealed shut behind Darius with a sharp hiss, as though the station itself did not want him to leave. For a moment, he simply stood frozen, his rifle aimed at the alien woman. She did not move. She only watched him, her glowing eyes locked on his face, her bare form trembling with a strange mix of fear and hope. The silence pressed against him until his heartbeat was the loudest sound in the room. His instincts told him to speak again, but his voice caught. He felt like words would break something fragile, something ancient that lingered between them. Finally, he forced himself to whisper, "What are you?" The woman tilted her head, then slowly raised her hand and touched the device on the wall. It pulsed, brighter this time, and suddenly Darius's mind was no longer his own. Images slammed into him. Visions, memories, fragments of a story that was not his. He saw her standing in a great chamber surrounded by towering alien figures. They wore black armor, their faces hidden, their voices cold. She was naked then too, standing before them like property, like an offering. He saw them arguing, their words sharp and cruel. He could not understand their language, but he felt their meaning. She was not one of them. She was made, created, designed. The vision shifted. He saw her inside this very room, sealed in darkness, waiting. He felt her loneliness, her hunger, her endless longing for someone who would never come, until now. The images stopped and Darius staggered, his breath ragged. Sweat rolled down his neck. He gripped the rifle tighter, though it felt useless in his hands. This was not an enemy he could fight with bullets. The woman's eyes softened as if she understood his fear. She stepped closer, slow and careful, like she was approaching a wild animal. Her lips moved, shaping words that almost sounded human. Da. Re. Us. Hearing his name again sent chills crawling down his spine. She knew him. Somehow, she had always known him. "No," he whispered, backing away. "That's impossible. You shouldn't know my name. You shouldn't even exist." She stopped, her glowing hair shifting as if stirred by an unseen wind. Then she pointed toward the floor. Darius followed her gesture. Etched into the metal beneath their feet was a circle filled with alien markings. In the center of the circle was a single symbol he recognized. Human standard. His name. Darius Morrow. His stomach dropped. He had never been here before. He had never met these people. And yet his name was carved into a station older than most civilizations he had studied. "This is wrong," he muttered, shaking his head. "This is a trap. Someone planned this." The woman stepped closer again, her eyes glowing brighter. Her voice came soft, broken, but clear enough. "No. Gift." The word struck him like a blade. Gift. He remembered the vision, the armored aliens presenting her like a trophy. A gift to whom? To him? To humanity? He felt anger rising. He was not some pawn in an alien game. He was not going to accept whatever twisted gift they had left here. But as he looked into her eyes, he felt something else beneath the anger. She was not a tool, not a trap. She was desperate. The device on the wall pulsed again, and he felt more images flood his mind. This time, he saw her reaching for him, but something blocked her. A barrier, a chain. Then he saw fleets burning, worlds shattering, entire empires falling. And in the heart of the chaos, her face crying out for him, he ripped himself free. Of the visions gasping for air, his knees almost buckled. No, this isn't real. It can't be real. The woman's hands trembled as she reached for him. This time she dared to touch him, her fingers brushing against his wrist. Her skin was warm, too warm, like fire under flesh. The instant she touched him, the station lights flickered. A low hum filled the air, vibrating through the walls, through the floor, through his bones. Darius yanked his arm back, his heart racing. "What are you doing to me?" But she shook her head quickly, panic flashing in her eyes. She pressed her hand, against her chest again, then against his. A message without words. A plea. Connection. Bond. He swallowed hard, his chest tightening. He wanted to pull away, to run, to escape this cursed place. But something deep inside him whispered that leaving would be impossible now. He had been chosen, trapped in a story, written long before his birth. Then the silence shattered. A loud alarm screamed through the chamber, red lights flashing across the walls. The floor shook beneath him. Somewhere deep in the station, machinery roared to life. Darius lifted his rifle, spinning toward the sound. The woman's eyes widened, in fear. She clutched his arm, speaking quickly in her strange tongue, but one word repeated, sharp and clear. Danger. The hum grew louder. Heavy steps echoed in the corridors outside, mechanical and precise. The station was no longer dead. It was awake, and it was coming for them. Darius raised his rifle, his heart pounding. He looked at the woman. This alien, this prisoner, this mystery naked and trembling beside him. He realized he had a choice. Leave her behind and maybe escape, or trust her and step deeper into the unknown. Her glowing eyes locked on his again, filled with fear but also with trust. And in that moment Darius understood one terrible truth. This was only the beginning. The alarm kept screaming, echoing through the metal walls like a dying beast. The dim chamber shook with each vibration, dust falling from the ceiling. Darius gritted his teeth and raised his rifle toward the sealed door. Whatever was outside was coming closer. Heavy metallic footsteps pounded the corridor, too steady, too mechanical to be alive. The woman clung to his arm, her glowing eyes filled with fear. Her lips moved fast, speaking in her strange tongue. He couldn't understand the words, but he understood the feeling. She was begging him not to leave her. Damn it, Darius muttered under his breath. He had survived pirate ambushes, he had fought mercenary bands, but this was different. This station wasn't abandoned. It was waiting, and now it was awake. The door slid open with a violent hiss. 3 tall machines stepped inside, their frames shining black, their faces blank masks of steel. Each carried weapons built into their arms, glowing with red energy. Their heads swiveled at the same time, locking on him. Darius fired first. Blue plasma bolts burst from his rifle, slamming into the chest of the lead machine. Sparks exploded, metal cracked, but the thing kept moving forward. The second machine raised its weapon, but before it could fire, the alien woman screamed. It wasn't a normal scream. It was piercing, sharp, a sound that cut through the walls like lightning. The machines froze for half a second, their movements stuttering. Darius used that moment to fire again, aiming at the weak spots in their joints. One machine collapsed, its leg blown apart. The woman clutched the strange device on the wall, and, once again, images flashed into Darius's mind. Only this time they were not her memories, they were instructions. He saw the path of the station, corridors, control panels, and power nodes. a map of survival, burned into his head in a single second. He staggered, shaking his head, but the knowledge stayed. He now knew where to go. He now knew the station was not just a tomb, it was a weapon. "Come with me," he growled, pulling the woman by the arm. She stumbled, but she followed, her bare feet silent on the metal floor. Together, they ran through the corridor, plasma fire striking the walls behind them. The station came alive around them. Doors hissed open without touch, lights blazed to life, and ancient machines rumbled in the dark. Every corner held danger: automated turrets, patrol drones, traps designed to kill intruders. But somehow, the woman guided him through it all. She would point, gesture, whisper, and the doors would respond. She was connected to the station. "Who are you?" Darius demanded as they ducked into a side passage, panting for breath. His rifle hummed, its energy pack half drained. "Why are they after us?" The woman pressed her palm to her chest again. "Gift," she whispered softly. Then her glowing eyes filled with sadness, and she added a word that chilled him. "Prison. Gift. Prison. Both truths at once." Darius felt his skin crawl. She wasn't free. She wasn't just waiting. She was locked here, part of the station itself. The corridor shook violently, throwing him against the wall. He caught her before she fell. Ahead of them, a heavy blast door sealed shut with a deafening clang. The woman's eyes glowed brighter, and she pressed her hand against the door. Symbols lit up across the metal, shifting like fire. Then slowly the door opened. They stepped inside and found themselves in a massive chamber. At its center stood a towering machine, a control core shaped like a black crystal. Energy pulsed through it like veins of blood. The moment they entered, the core came alive, casting the room in red light. Darius raised his rifle, but the woman shook her head. She stepped forward, her body glowing faintly as though answering the core's call. She pressed her hand against it, and the entire chamber trembled. Visions filled Darius's head again. Fleets burning, armies crushed, galaxies kneeling before a power that could not be stopped. And at the heart of it, the woman glowing like a star, her body bound to the machine. He staggered back, his breath coming fast. No, this isn't real, this is madness. But deep inside, he knew it was real. The aliens who had created her had left her here as both prisoner and bait. Whoever bonded with her would control the station's core. Whoever bonded with her would wield a weapon strong enough to shake empires. The machines were not attacking to kill him. They were attacking to protect her. From him. The woman turned, her eyes glowing like fire, her voice soft but desperate. "Darius, no, choose." The door behind them slammed open. More machines poured inside, weapons raised, their red eyes burning. The air filled with the hiss of charging cannons. Darius lifted his rifle, standing in front of her. His heart pounded. Like thunder, he had no time. Either he trusted her and touched the core, or he fought and died in this chamber. The woman's eyes locked on his, wide with urgency, glowing brighter than ever. Her voice carried across the chamber, a whisper that shook the air. Together. Darius clenched his teeth, his hand hovering over the black crystal. He had survived many battles, but this was not survival. This was destiny. The chamber shook as the black crystal core pulsed brighter, flooding the room with red and silver light. The alien machines stormed in through the open doors, weapons glowing, their movements sharp and mechanical. Darius aimed his rifle, but he knew he couldn't fight them all. His weapon was already overheated, its charge nearly drained. The woman stood at the crystal, her glowing hair whipping around her face as energy poured into her body. She raised her hand, and the machines froze for a moment. Their heads twitched, their red eyes flickered, then they advanced again, slower this time, as if torn between two commands. "Darius," she cried. Her voice was clearer now, broken but more human than before. "Touch it. Now." His gut twisted. He didn't want to. Every instinct screamed that touching that black core would change him forever. But he had no choice. He stepped forward, lifted his hand, and pressed it against the crystal. The world shattered. Light exploded through his mind, flooding every corner of his thoughts. He saw stars burning, planets shattering, ships torn apart by invisible power. He saw empires bowing before a force that could crush suns. He saw himself, standing at the center of it, not as a man, but as something more, something feared, and, beside him always was her, the woman. Her silver skin glowing, her eyes burning like stars. She was not separate from the crystal. She was the crystal. She was the heart of this weapon, this ancient machine, this alien prison. Darius staggered, back, gasping. His hand slipped from the surface, but the vision didn't end. The bond had been made. His name burned in his mind, carved into the machine itself. He was part of it now. The woman collapsed into his arms, her body trembling. Her glowing eyes looked up at him, filled with exhaustion. "Now, you see?" she whispered. "I see too much," Darius muttered, his chest tight. "What the hell are you?" Her lips trembled, forming words slowly. "I am made. They built me, not born, created. A vessel." Darius felt his blood run cold. "A weapon," he whispered. She closed her eyes, a single tear glowing as it slid down her cheek. Yes, but also more. The machine stepped forward again, breaking free of their hesitation. Their cannons hummed, ready to fire. Darius pushed her behind him, raising his rifle. But before he could shoot, the black core pulsed again. His veins burned, his muscles shook, and suddenly the machine stopped. They froze mid-step, their weapons going dark. One by one, they turned toward him, their red eyes shifting to blue. Then, with perfect coordination, they knelt. Darius's breath caught in his throat. They weren't machines anymore. They were soldiers. His soldiers. He looked at the woman. She was watching him closely, her glowing eyes filled with a mixture of fear and hope. "You command," she whispered. "Now you command." "No," Darius said, shaking his head. "I don't want this. I didn't come here for this." Her expression softened, but her words cut deep. "It does not matter. You were chosen, long ago, before you were born." The chamber rumbled, the crystal pulsing faster, as though alive. Darius felt its heartbeat inside his own chest. He staggered, gripping the wall. "Chosen, and for what?" The woman stepped closer, her voice low, almost a whisper. "To awaken me, to free me, to bind me, human and vessel. Two become one. Together, power beyond fleets, beyond stars, beyond war." Darius stared at her, his stomach twisting. "Why me?" Her eyes shimmered. She raised her hand, brushing her fingers against his face. This time, her voice was soft, almost tender. "Because only a human could bear it. Only you." Before he could answer, the station shook again. A deep, thunderous sound echoed from beyond the walls. The machines rose, turning their heads toward the noise. Through the far wall, faint vibrations of ships docking could be heard. More were coming. Not machines this time. Something worse. The woman's expression darkened. "They come. The makers. They will not let you keep me." Darius's grip tightened on his rifle. His mind was burning with new knowledge. Schematics, maps, battle formations, all flowing into him through the bond. He saw the truth now. The station was not only a prison, it was a fortress. And through her, it was his. But the cost was clear. To keep her safe, to use this power, he would have to stand against the ones who built her, against an empire older than humanity itself. The woman's hand slid into his, her touch warm despite her trembling. "Choose, Darius," she whispered. "Run and they take me. Stay and you fight them. But if you fight, the galaxy will never be the same again." Darius's chest heaved as he looked at her. Naked, trembling, created not by chance but by design. A gift, a prison, a weapon, and yet, more human than the monsters who made her. He lifted his head, staring at the kneeling machines, at the pulsing black crystal, at the trembling walls of the station. He had been dragged here by a message he didn't understand. Now he knew the truth. He had opened the door, and now the galaxy itself was opening before him. The floor trembled like the heartbeat of a giant. The station was no longer quiet. It was alive, awake and waiting. The black crystal core pulsed in rhythm with Darius's chest, every beat sinking deeper into his blood. Around him, the machines knelt like soldiers ready for command. But beyond the walls, he could hear the thunder of new ships arriving, the ones who built her, the ones who would never allow her to be free. The woman squeezed his hand, her glowing eyes wide with fear. "They come," she whispered. "If they take me back, all is lost." Darius stared at her, his thoughts racing. He never asked for this. He was just a soldier, a wanderer, a man who lived one mission at a time. But now he stood in the center of something far greater. If he left, they would capture her, rebuild the prison, and lock her away again. If he stayed, he would have to fight an empire. The door shook as heavy blasts rattled against it. The woman's body glowed brighter, her skin shimmering with silver light. She was afraid, but she didn't back away. She stood at his side, ready to face whatever came through that door. Darius lifted his rifle, his voice steady despite the storm inside him. "If I run, I lose you. If I fight, I might lose everything. But maybe humanity has been waiting for this." Her lips parted, and for the first time she smiled. A soft, fragile smile filled with hope. The blast door exploded inward. Dozens of alien soldiers stormed in, their armor black and twisted, their weapons humming with deadly energy. They moved with precision, like shadows given life. Behind them, a towering figure entered, cloaked in crimson light. Its voice thundered across the chamber. "Return the vessel, human. She is not yours." The machines kneeling around Darius rose at once, forming a wall of steel between him and the invaders. Their weapons glowed blue, waiting only for his command. The bond pulsed again, burning in his chest. He understood it now. With one thought, he could unleash them. With one word, he could command an army. The woman looked at him, her glowing eyes filled with urgency. "Darius, we choose." The crimson figure raised its weapon, pointing at her. "She belongs to us. She was made for us. You are nothing." Darius's jaw tightened. His finger hovered over the trigger of his rifle. His voice was low, but unshakable. "You're wrong. She belongs to herself, and I won't let you take her." He gave the command. The machines roared to life. Blue energy lit the chamber as they fired, tearing into the black-armored soldiers. Explosions rocked the room, sparks flying, screams echoing. The invaders fell one after another, but more poured through the shattered door. The battle became chaos, metal clashing, plasma bolts tearing the air. Darius fought at the front, his rifle burning hot, his every move guided by knowledge that wasn't his own. The bond filled his mind with strategy, angles, and timing. He moved like he had trained his entire life for this moment. The woman stood behind him, her glowing hands raised, sending pulses of energy that crippled enemy weapons and shattered their armor. The crimson figure charged, swinging a blade of pure energy. Darius met it head-on, his rifle too slow, his strength too human. The blade slashed across his chest, burning through armor. He staggered, pain searing his body. The figure raised the blade for the killing strike, but the woman screamed his name. Her body flared with light brighter than the sun. The crystal core pulsed in unison, sending a shockwave through the chamber. The crimson figure flew back, slamming into the wall, its armor cracking. Darius fell to his knees, his breath ragged. The woman collapsed beside him, her glow fading. "You cannot fall," she whispered, her voice weak. "We are not done." He forced himself up, gripping the rifle. The machines closed ranks around him, finishing off the last of the invaders. Smoke filled the chamber. The crimson figure staggered to its feet, broken, but not defeated. Darius raised his rifle and aimed. His voice was ice. Tell your masters, humanity doesn't bow. One final shot. The crimson figure fell, its body dissolving into ash. The chamber went silent. The machines stood tall, their blue eyes glowing, waiting. The woman leaned against him, trembling but alive. Outside the station, the invading ships pulled back, retreating into the void. Word would spread. The Empire would not forget this day. Darius looked at her, his chest burning with pain but his voice steady. It's over. For now. She shook her head weakly. No. It begins. The galaxy knows you now. They will fear you. They will fear us. He stared at the crystal core, still, pulsing with dark light. He didn't want this power. But he couldn't deny the truth. It was his now, and through her it would grow. Slowly, he turned toward the machines, toward the station, toward the stars beyond. His voice was quiet, but it carried through the chamber. Then let them fear us. The woman closed her eyes, leaning against his shoulder, her glowing lips forming one final word. Together. And in that moment, Darius understood. He had not just opened a door. He had opened a war.